Well, it is official. We have tomorrow, July 9th, the next, last, final, whatever you want to call it. It is the last Tarkov wipe before the game fully releases. So they say. So what we know so far is that this is going to be a hardcore wipe. If you saw the tweets already or haven't seen the tweets or saw the roadmap, they talked a lot about this new hardcore wipe. So let me pull up the roadmap here and we'll see here. We're right here in July of 2025. We've got a hardcore wipe, new prestige levels, new PMC customization options, and cumulative fixes after the latest 16.7 update. So the biggest problem that we all know with BSG is that it doesn't give us a lot of information, right? One of the biggest things they always do is say, oh, we've got fixes coming after this. Okay, but what was broken? You never really told us, or maybe we all actually know what was broken, and so we'll see a lot of that. But it just so happens that they actually gave us quite a bit of information. Because hardcore wipe, what the heck does that mean? I think we all have our own variations of the hardcore play style of like, oh, maybe no flee, or I can only barter, or I can only use things I find in raid, things like that. It looks like they've actually finally implemented something to really give that experience. So hardcore wipe is what's starting tomorrow, and it's an extra challenging wipe. Now, the one thing they weren't very clear about, and it's something that I'm curious about, is this no matter what, or is this an option of when you wipe and you create a character, is it going to ask you, is it a hardcore playthrough or not? But it's going to have a disabled flea market, which I think there was a survey about that, and there was a lot of information that went back and forth about that. But it's going to be nice that, that the flea market will be disabled, which is going to make things a little more challenging. Now, increased item requirements for the hideout zones, which we kind of all saw that coming, right, when they changed the found in raid aspect. Hideout zones don't require found in raid items, which again, that was the implementation that was put in place already. Limited hideout ammo crafts. Now that's going to be very interesting because I know a lot of people craft their ammo all week long, right? Just check in during the workday or when you get home from work, or however you work, going through and just kind of building ammo up all weekend and then playing on the weekend. That's been pretty big. Reduced spawn chance of rare loot. I'm very interested to see how that works out, because what would that entail? I mean, rare loot obviously is how we make money, but if there's no flea market, is it going to be that critical? On top of the fact, is that going to have to do with like barters now? So it's going to be harder to find rare loot that would be for barters for good guns. Just super, super interested to see how that's going to go. Now we can see here there's a couple more options. We'll pop back over, take a look at the second page here, which says restricted location accessibility. So most of the locations will only be accessible through transitions from appropriate locations. So I think that's taking that kind of hardcore aspect that they were looking for. Now, what does that even mean, right? Obviously transitions, but does that mean we're not going to be able to choose certain maps? And we have to transition to them? That would be really unique way to play. Secure containers can't store ammo, currency, and certain medicine. That one's crazy to me. So I think we're going to see a lot of people running around with a lot of low-level ammo, and that's going to be really unique. So I'm wondering when it says can't and certain medicine. So my guess is going to be no grizzlies. Maybe no heavy bleed stops, so things that people rely on quite a bit in those early days that are hard to really hang on to, that you'll lose pretty quickly. I think that's going to be a big piece of that. Now, limited trader interaction, reduced range of available medicine, weapons, ammo, and armor. I think what we all know that means is we're probably only going to get like level 2, level 3 available from the traders, and that's it. And then reduced item selling price and increased purchase price. So everything's going to be harder to sell and more expensive to buy. That's definitely going to be pretty hardcore. Now, finally, 100% boss spawn chance on all locations, which I think is great. That's what we've been seeing over the last week anyways. And then reduced experience for killing enemies and dying. So that'll be nice because you die, you lose all that experience, but now you're not going to get that much experience to begin with, which tells me that puts a heavy emphasis on questing in order to get that experience. Increased experience for surviving, so obviously we all want to survive, right? But now there's going to be a pretty big bonus for that. And increased AI difficulty. Very curious to see like what that means for play styles, right? Because if the scavs are kind of cracked out of their minds or the bosses are cracked, you're not going to be able to run around, farm bosses, and then come back, and then extract and find ways to get all that experience. Now, I, for one, am super excited to kind of just see how this goes. I haven't played PvP in a while. I won't lie to you guys. I have been working pretty hard in my career, and so I'm focused mostly on PvE, but we are definitely going to take a stab at this hardcore wipe. So make sure, if you aren't already, follow along on Twitch and TikTok. That's where I stream mostly, so the links are down in the description. Make sure you follow us there. And if you have any thoughts on this hardcore wipe or any of the updates to come, leave those in the comment section. I love hearing from you guys. Also, most of the videos that I put out are all from conversations in the comment section. So if you got an idea, something you're curious about as far as how the game works, or something you'd like to see a video on, definitely leave that in the comments below. Don't forget to like, don't forget to share. If you have a friend who doesn't know anything about this upcoming wipe, send them this, and be sure to check out some of the sweet playlists I have on different guides on how to play the game. So I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Can't wait for this wipe, and we'll see you in the next video.